March 5th, Board of Education meeting. Done, Alexa. Got it, thank you. I'm sorry, March 5th, Board of Education meeting. I'll ask everybody to please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Ms. Kavanaugh, would you lead us?
I'd be happy to, Mr. Puccini. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Please take note of the emergency exits. There's one in the back of the room and the door that you entered in through. In the event of an emergency, please leave in an orderly fashion through these exits. This is a smoke-free and vape-free school district. Smoking or vaping is not permitted in the buildings or anywhere on school grounds. This is a hate-free and a bully-free school district. Moving on to item C.
Thank you, President Puccini. The administration recommends the approval of board consent items reflected in Schedule C1 through C3.
C1 through 3, can I have a motion? Mr. Lillo, seconded by Ms. Kavanaugh. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Item D, communications and announcements.
All right, I'll get started. I know only a week has elapsed since our last board meeting, but
Okay, this should be really short.
I was just about to say a lot of things are still happening in our wonderful district, so let me get right to it. First and foremost, I'm going to start off with our Black History Month observances. There were observances in all of our school buildings that included lessons, learning experiences, creations of bulletin boards. So I really want to give a shout out to all of our school buildings to participate in this beautiful cultural celebration. But I did have the privilege of attending the Black History Month celebration at Bellport High School. That was directed by students under the advisement of Mr. Romello Green. He basically charged students to put a program together that was incredibly moving. It included dances, songs, spoken word poetry. We also did a sort of tribute to John Conquest as a part of our local history and the impact he made in mending some racial tensions that occurred here in the past. So it really was a wonderful event that literally brought people to tears. I was just so impressed by the fact that these students put this together. And what was really nice, above and beyond that, was the fact that we had an audience, an entire audience of all of our students who were so supportive as well. So it was just really a great source of Clipper pride. And in one of those photos, she's very tiny, Margaret Bullock came back to speak a little bit about John Conquest, and also she sang, and she had a beautiful and moving voice. So what a great day. Another great event was, we just took a photo, was the Bellport Middle School's Read Across America Day, in which we got to read I'm an American, a book that celebrates our diversity as a country. I call it the American Mosaic. It was just always great interacting with students. So I want to thank the trustees for participating in this wonderful event. I also want to thank Dr. Blazik for sort of organizing it and sort of picking a fantastic book. Just in my group alone, and that's what I mean by my group, and the students that I read to, there were 11 countries represented. And it was really nice at the end of the book reading to have them stand up and talk about sort of their heritage and stuff in such a proud manner. I remember when I my first year teaching, I taught in Brooklyn, and I realized that my students were very diverse, and I made the mistake of asking them where they were all from, and no one wanted to answer me. So just because they didn't talk about it out loud as like 7th graders. Just to see like the growth and the fact that the kids really embraced the book and sort of shared, and you know, so many kids were just mixed heritage, and you couldn't guess what some kids were. One kid was half Turkish, half Puerto Rican, and apparently her father spoke 6 languages. So it really was a great event. So thank you again, Dr. Blazik, and all the staff involved making this great day happen. Another great event, just in 1 week, was a K-5 STEM night that was hosted at Brookhaven Elementary School, but featured all of our K-5 staff members and administrators. It was a night full of gadgets, gizmos, robots, and more. I mean, there were so many smiles that night among the people who participated, and it was a really well-attended event. So typically, events at night tend to sometimes not get great attendance, but this really was wonderful. So I really want to thank Jack Burke, our Director of STEM, Krista Albrecht, our Director of Technology, for organizing this, and the numerous teachers that participated, and high school students that participated in each of the respective stations. Really was a great night of learning, and again, fun. I also got to attend last night's winter concert, which is always fantastic. We saw our 9th grade orchestra, and I was really impressed by the sheer number of students that participate just as 9th graders in our orchestra, our symphonic orchestra, symphonic band, and our treble choir under the direction of Hannah Casalino, Henry Finnegan, Dan Rouse, Cal Sherlock, and Juliet Valenti, under the stewardship, of course, of Angelina Wasson. So really great night of music. And again, I say it, and I can't say it enough, just the amount of students that participate in our music programs is remarkable. So it really was a great night to be out. Some more South Country happenings. I just came back from Albany. We attended the NISCUS conference, which is a conference for school state superintendents, and participated in various workshops. I actually presented a workshop on career readiness beyond AI, unlocking global potential and civic readiness, where we talked about immersive and experiential learning, and how what basically makes us different than AI is our ability to connect as humans, and how that we can't kind of eliminate that from our education systems. As fantastic as AI is, and I also attended workshops on harnessing the power of generative AI in K-12 education. I left out the 12, I just noticed. It's remarkable what AI can do, and it's something that we really have to embrace as, the technology continues to evolve. So it's really just figuring out applications for us as administrators in terms to be more effective at our jobs, and also applications in how AI can help students learn. Also participated in a workshop on building a phone-free culture in our schools. As you know, that's part of the governor's mandate to come up with a cell phone policy by August 31st, and it's also going to be a part of our action plan or our strategic plan. So that was pretty insightful to hear from different school districts that have already engaged in this practice. And again, the last one, and there were more workshops leveraging Tier 1 to build positive school culture and teacher morale. And for those of you who don't know, Tier 1 is basically interventions that happen in our classrooms that affect the majority of students. So in reality, it's how you sort of cultivate a positive climate for our learners. We also had a college planning night, which was organized by Mr. Jennifer Stephen, our high school guidance counselors. Navigating the college application process could be quite demanding and confusing at times. So I was really appreciative of the fact that I got to stop by just for a moment. I didn't stay for the whole thing, but to see them get started, and there was a good group of parents there listening to the presentation. And just by happenstance, when I visited the high school for our Black History Month celebration, I got to meet with our top 10 students. We'll make a more formal announcement at our later board meeting, but they're all fantastic students. From our valedictorian, Shavi Shah, our salutatorian, Maya Dixit, essayist, Lily Seif, followed by Anthony Costanza, Nicole Alvarado Diaz, Ryan Subert, Jeanette Mahi, Caitlin Schusler, Lauren LaGrega, who could not be here today because she is at church for Ash Wednesday, and Aaron DePaya. So great students, great talking to them. I pretty much think they all have their college plans all set. And for those of you who observed Ash Wednesday, I just want to sort of wish you a happy, holy upcoming Lenten season. The highlights will start with our top 10. This has also been a great season for our student athletes, which I think merit recognition in a more formal fashion. First and foremost, I want to give a shout out to our boys basketball team who had a playoff berth. Unfortunately, they had a tough loss in their last game. A big shout out to Coach Grassi and Coach Brown for a great season. Remarkable history made. Our girls wrestling, varsity wrestling, are the first ever team state champions. We had qualifiers as well. Aaliyah Morrow was a state finalist, runner-up, and Caitlin Maragiolo was placed 4th in New York State. Again, the team was made up of 7 school districts who kind of joined forces, but the level of competition was amazing, and we were super excited to be the first ever state champions for girls wrestling. So again, I am going to follow up with a more sort of formal recognition for this historic achievement. We're super excited, great source of Clipper pride. Our boys varsity wrestling did really well. They had an 18-1 season, which was capped by a state champion, Cameron Howard, He is only a 9th grade student, but he is our second individual state champion in South Country history. So he has a bright future in wrestling. And sure enough, after this match on Saturday, he was back in school Tuesday performing in our orchestra band. So it's, we're really happy for him, happy for all the coaching staff, and all of our student athletes who participated. It was just a great sort of week of high school athletics, and I just wanted to give them a nice shout out. I feel badly because a lot more things happen in our school buildings. Read Across America is being observed in several school buildings. I'll be reading at Kramer and Frankie Long on Friday. So please follow our social media handles. Each of the schools have social media handles which you can follow. And so I encourage people to log on and see all the great things that are happening. And again, ways to keep in touch in our school district is our community portal, which you can subscribe to. Our social media links are all located on the first page of our website, along with the Superintendent's Corner, my contact information, my social media handles, and my weekly update. And that concludes my superintendent's report. Lots to be proud of. Thank you.
Great. Around the room on trustee and advisory committee reports. I'll start on my left, Mr. Laurel.
I just want to kind of piggyback on Mr. Santana's Read Across America, the great Read Aloud. Fantastic. I love the middle school kids. I love their interaction and the fact that they were willing to say exactly where they're from. One of the groups that I read to, we got up to 18 different backgrounds, so it was fabulous. Also, the K through 5 STEM night at Brookhaven, got to go there. What I really thought was impressive is it started at 5:30. There were people there at 5:15 waiting to get in, and people were trickling in until about 6:30. So it wasn't like there was an initial rush and then it just fell off. And the kids were interacting, going to the different stations, just having fun with science and math. I thought that was terrific. I was one of the parents at the junior college planning meeting. I just want to stress to anybody who's watching, if you have a junior in high school, really utilize the time to reach out to your guidance counselors. There's a lot of information out there. This is my second time going through it, and I learned something new already. The second time in 2 years, and I learned something new. So really take advantage of the opportunities that our guidance department is offering kids for college. My last thing I really want to highlight is today, I went to a seminar, a disconnected seminar about cell phone bans. Attended with Mr. Huntsman, Mr. Brady, Dr. Colson, Mr. Galena, and Ms. Meyer. Did I get everybody? It was really interesting to hear the different perspectives on the cell phone bans, what was working, what was not working. What I particularly liked about this seminar is that students spoke. It was not just board members or principals, teachers. The kids actually had some real insights on how the policy has helped them and the bumps that it took to get there. But it's something I know that's going to be coming up. It was nice to kind of hear some information on it.
Thank you.
That's it.
Ms. Kavanaugh?
Nothing, thank you.
Ms. Hayes?
I enjoyed the Read Around America program also at the middle school, and all the children had made name signs for each of us. So if everybody can hold them up, you can show what all the kids did.
Mine have.
Where's your
Mine's
sign?
over there.
Okay, there's one for Ms. Kavanaugh as well. And I was appreciative of how attentive the children were. I was the last class right before they got to go home, and every single student there was paying attention to the story, and it was very rewarding. It was a very special event for me. Thank you, Dr. Blazek, for inviting us to do that. And I enjoyed the concert last night at the high school, and I'm looking forward to the one tomorrow night.
Ms. Lisa?
Yeah, thank you. Yes, also enjoyed the Read Across America, echo what has already been said. The, the warmth from the students is always well received. I had 16 different ethnics, backgrounds that were mentioned in my class. And I got to share, a story about my grandmother and how she came over and came through Ellis Island. And I initially asked the class if any of their grandparents came over, and I realized I had to go 2 more generations, that it would be their great-great-grandparents, forgetting how old I am. So we had some interesting laughs about that, but the students were wonderful. And thank you again, Dr. Blazek. It's always nice to come into the middle school, and the kids really do enjoy it. They really did. And you think because it's middle school, they're not going to, but they really did. So job well done. Also, yes, the concert. Again, I was really, I'm partial to the brass and the symphonic band. They just blow me away every time. But I was amazed that the freshman orchestra were only freshmen. They were that good. But then when you think they started, Frank P. Long, and they have all the training in the middle school, then you wonder why they're so good by the time they get to freshmen. Because they have all that training behind them. So our music program is second to none. And when I first came on the board, I had a lot of parents lecture me, with their finger in my face, don't ever get rid of our music program. And they are absolutely right, and we never will, because they are just that good. So yes, looking forward to tomorrow night's program as well. So looking forward to that. And also, I'm very proud to say that I'm a member of the Patchogue Lioness Lions Club, and our primary mission is to prevent blindness and work with the unsighted. So we offer a free eye screening program, which we concentrate mostly on the Patchogue Medford School District and the South Country School District. And this week, my club is participating in a free pre-screening, eye screening program here at South Country. We usually do just pre-K through 3rd grade, but now we've advanced to 5th grade. So we're in every single school from pre-K to 5th grade this week in South Country, and we will by the end of the week probably screen at least 200 students a day, and hopefully get those children that have eye problems into treatment, and we help with their with cost of that treatment and eyeglass if those students need them and can't afford them. So very thankful to my club for being here this week and helping our district and helping our families. And that's my report. Thank you.
I had heard secondhand about the Black History program, so that's almost high praise from my to hear from my family about anything, let alone something that was done so well, and very impressive. Apparently, the singers were as part of that as well. Again, I missed the reading program, but I'm going to get the opportunity, I hope, to get back in the classroom as well. And of course, I had a few people who came up to me and saw it on there about the top 10 because there was confusion from some of our community members who thought that didn't exist anymore, and it exists for 2 more years after this as well. But congratulations to those students. I think that that's fantastic that they're having such great success.
Great, thank you. Yeah, I too got to go to Read Across America. It's a wonderful day. I like the book about food. No surprise there. So I can't wait to read that one next year. No, but the book was wonderful. The kids are always great. Anybody who says being a board trustee is a thankless job never got the opportunity to read to students. So thank you for the invite. It is wonderful. I wish I had time to do more of it. I am sorry, I was scheduled to be at the Black History Month celebration, but my car ended up in the shop and I was stranded. So I'm sorry to have missed that. That's it. Moving on to no public commentary. Okay. You're up. Budget presentation. saw it when I knew the house. Yeah, it looks like Robin's house. Hornbook Vegas burned to the ground too, like a big fire.
Everybody's okay now?
It sounds like it, yeah. I was at when it first came. Like Robert.
All right. I'm gonna get started. Today, we're doing our fourth budget presentation, which is expenditure review on curriculum instruction, so I'm gonna get right to it. Again, looking at the schedule, today's March 5th. I just had a minute where I was like, I can't believe it's March 5th. I thought that was a mistake. But today is March 5th, and we're going over the 2000 code, curriculum and instruction. Again, April 2nd is really when we'll have a final, or semi-final sort of budget presentation where we land in terms of expenses and revenue with a consequent budget adaptation after that. And again, our budget hearing will be May 7th, and then our budget election will be on the 20th. We're currently in March. We're really going to be scrutinizing our staffing, just make sure that we can cover our programs and make any sort of decisions that need to be made with regards to staffing across the district. But right now, I'll talk about our tax levy limit. You know, ultimately, I know we had a lot of passionate conversations about it, but given the current financial climate, we decided in the end to go with our scenario A, which is going to be a 3.48 tax levy limit for the community, not giving up on the need to do capital improvements. What we're going to be proposing on March 19th, our next board meeting, is a proposition for a capital reserve vote to continue that important capital work, because first and foremost, as articulated by the board, it's much needed and also generates building aid for the future. But again, considering our current sort of situation with taxes and expenses and the way the economy is going, we were sort of reluctant as an administration to recommend a tax levy that would have been higher, that only allowed us to do capital work and not address some of the needs in our school district's programs. And again, the tax levy limit does not represent the district's proposed tax levy. That will be shared with the board when we have our budget adaptation in April. Moving on, the essential questions: what do we mean by curriculum and instruction, and how do we organize it for budgetary purposes? And also, and then again, finally, what expenditures are included in the 2000 code curriculum instruction? So I'm going to go over each of the codes and clusters. So first, I want to define curriculum and instruction again for our newest board member. But curriculum is what is taught in the schools. Instruction, how the curriculum is being delivered. How does the school district organize the 2000 code for budgetary processes? One large cluster of budgetary codes are general education classrooms, district-wide, special programs, not special ed programs, but special programs, student support outside of special education, and all of the contracts, materials, and supplies associated with providing instruction. Then we cluster it into special education programs district-wide, including instruction, support services, tuition, contracts, materials, and supplies as required by law. Again, special education is mandated by student IEPs, and what we mean by tuition is for students who attend special BOCES programs. And finally, the next big category is all of our extracurricular activities, including district-wide, including interscholastic athletics, intramurals, and clubs. That's a photo of our entire girls wrestling team up there on the right. Again, I'm very proud of their accomplishment. So what are the expenditures that we're looking at? First, we're going to look at our the 2000 or Code 20, the functional Code 20, which is curriculum, supervision, and administration, which covers the development, oversight, and management of instructional programs. There's an overall net decrease in this category of codes, which is a reflection. One, we're able to drop our textbook code because of our reliance on digital resources that has limited our sort of need to do traditional textbooks, at least for the next coming school year, in addition to some budgetary corrections, meaning the reassignment of funds to other more appropriate budget lines. Not so remarkable in this case, but we did show a little slight increase just in this category. Moving on to 2100, the Code 21 refers to instruction. The term regular school is not our term, and I wanted to point that out because it seems kind of funny, but that's just in line with the New York State Education Department's ST3 financial reporting framework, so we'd like to be consistent with that. So this includes direct instruction, teaching regular school, and it's again the official description. Budget codes 2130, 2138, and 2140 are internal designations used by the district for specific purposes and are not standard NYSED ST3 codes. But that's how we differentiate how we, like, our programs cost us, whether it's art, music, and driver's ed, which is a minimal expense. Changes in salaries here that are reflected here did not represent increases in staffing necessarily. And these projections will change as we finalize our staffing projections for our next board meeting. But typically it's contractual obligations and raises that are included in this category. So there's a slight increase there as well. I move on to 2250 code program studies with programs for students with disabilities, and disabilities is not misspelled. Again, that's just consistent with the ST3 financial report that we use to get to the New York State Department of Education Department. Occupational education. So Trustee Pacini had asked this question, so our average did go up. Our costs for these programs are based on a 3-year average. So we're at the end of those 3 years, so our average went up from 85 to 96 students for both these programs. So that increase in that cost reflects that, as well as an anticipated 3% increase in just the overall cost of both these programs.
I'm sorry, so you're saying the number of students going is increasing and that's why it's there, or that, you're saying, no, our average per student has gone up?
They use a 3-year average.
Yep, so our average has been adjusted up.
Correct, to 96. I think we have over 96 kids in there currently this year, but that's the average.
Yeah, okay, but no, the per student price goes up, not,
Well, no, so we pay like it's based on like a right, I'm sorry. It's based on the average number of students, not the specific number of students in the program.
correct.
So not only the number of students go up from 85 to 96, we're anticipating an increase per student of 3%.
Got it, so that's what drives that, and that is out, but, so our per student amount that it went up to is locked in for 3 years.
Correct.
So if we send 120 kids next year, we're paying for 96 on this year's rate.
Yes.
Got it, I just wanna make
So-
sure,
so-
that's the way I understood it, I just wanna make sure it's clear, because it
Yeah,
was a
so
little
some years
confusing.
you went out, some years you don't.
And I think we've won out the last couple,
We've been pretty lucky.
yeah.
Um,
This is, I'm sorry, the reason it brought up, I didn't mean to interrupt, this is, some districts are starting to push back on the average. Some districts, Pat met our neighbor, and I'm on the budget committee for Eastern Suffolk BOCES, so that's where this came from. Pat met is a district where it is completely the other way around. It's almost like they're paying for 150 while sending 100. Like, it's that lopsided, and it's not great when you're that district, even though we're going up here on a bigger district like that, it's a problem. So it'd be interesting to see if that ever changes.
Increases in 2250, which is programs for students with disabilities, is just a reflection of the growing need of our special ed population and the increased costs associated with providing services for them. And finally, teaching special schools covers instructional programs outside the regular school year, including summer school, such as our summer enrichment programs, alternative education programs operated by BOCES. And we're also, again, projecting that 3% increase across the board for all BOCES programs for the upcoming school year. Moving on to 26. These are categorized under instructional media, which encompasses the services that support the use of instructional materials and technology in the educational process. The overall decrease in 26 is largely a reduction of the computer-assisted instruction. So this is basically a change of reallocating the cost of student monitoring software, BOCES code 1680-490, which is aligns with the expense and the fact that we receive aid when we contract with BOCES. So that's more of a budgetary sort of correction. And while 2620 is designated for educational television, we don't have any educational television in the district. That's again a NYSED ST3 framework. We use it for language interpretation services. It's called Proprio that BOCES provides our school district for our bilingual parents. And they provide the service for multiple languages when our embedded staff is not there to assist. Moving on to Code 28, covers the non-instructional services that directly support students, such as attendance, counseling, health, extracurricular activities, and athletics. The overall net decrease is largely due to reallocation of funds to digitize paper transcripts. That's in 2810. We see the guidance, we had a little decrease in that cost, so the budget's been adjusted and shifted to the budget. BOCES Records Management Code 1460-490. And then the net overall decrease in the salary reduction social workers is not representing a drop in social workers, but we anticipate grant funding for some of our social workers, so we're taking that into account. And finally, the overall net increase in district's commitment to supporting growing athletics programs, with more students participating in sports. And anytime we reach the postseason, it represents additional transportation costs and additional costs for the districts. We sort of anticipate an increase in this category as we expand our athletic programs, which this year included the girls wrestling, varsity wrestling.
Is that budget line prorated, obviously, because of the, like for girls wrestling,
Yeah,
right?
that's included in there.
So it's, but the busing contract is prorated for each district that participates, or do we foot the whole bill for the team?
It was prorated. We shared expense.
We share it with other districts.
So that's basically sums up the 2000s. If you look at it, we decided to put in percentages, so to kind of demonstrate how much our anticipated expenses are increasing. Last time around, we spoke about the 1,000 codes, the 5,000 codes, and 9,000 codes. That's really where the biggest impact is hitting us. Our costs, as I mentioned the last time around, in transportation was something that we did not anticipate for the upcoming school year, as well as our health insurance costs going up by 15%. So that's a challenge that we're going to have to face. But there's still about 6 weeks left of the budget process, and so we're going to continue to chip away to make sure that we propose a budget that can maintain our programs, but also we're looking to really reduce some of these expenses wherever we can in order to propose a budget that's going to be fiscally responsible and doable. And again, all of the expenditures will change each step of the way as we propose the budget presentations. So that concludes my presentation, and I'll open it up for questions.
Trustees, anybody have a question?
Just for my own curiosity, when you mentioned there's a decrease in our expense for the purchase of textbooks, is there some coordinating increase in costs of computer-based learning programs? And if
No,
so,
so-
where is that in the?
Textbooks are incredibly expensive, and I never appreciate it, and I don't want to get figures off the top of my
Yeah,
head.
that's
But
fine.
the fact that we're relying less on hard copy textbooks really is a money savings. Because basically, when you deal with digital media, it's a contract. And so you're not paying for just based on-
Individual.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
The interscholastic athletics budget line, I don't know why this number jumps out at me, and I never really paid that close. What else is in that number? Is that, busing is the lion's share of that?
No, buses including in transportation.
So it's not in this, so what drives that number?
So it's salaries, extending the new programs like girls wrestling, supervision costs, everything that goes into athletics. And we're anticipating, we've had some success with each of our seasons. So each time our students sort of extend the season, costs go up.
But the cost that goes up when you extend the season is ref fees, correct, for the most part?
Ref fees, faculty supervision,
Transportation.
But the transportation's not in here,
Oh,
that's,
that's right.
that's why I'm trying to figure out why that number is, because that looks like a whole lot of coaches on top, but like, is the insurance cost associated with teams in that number?
What about like equipment and that sort of?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get at,
it's
is
about
it?
a $100,000 increase.
Mhm.
When you put all these different variables together, I'm just checking the detail.
I'll be honest, with all the years being here, I don't know why I never asked these questions on this specific budget line, but I don't know why I'm unfamiliar with why that number is so big. It's my understanding that a season, and maybe I'm just bad at math, really with coaches and referees fees, isn't really more than $15,000, $20,000 per team?
Again, I don't know off the top of my head.
Could you,
Break it
could
down,
you
that's-
share the breakdown?
Can you,
with us,
I'm curious to know what's in that and what drives that. And that goes to just a little side thing I'm looking at. I'm just curious about athletic fees, that's all. There's nothing to hold up, nothing that's urgent, it's really,
Yeah, I'm
you're
sure.
satisfying a curiosity here. Because it's not
Funny,
equipment, it's not
in the
transportation.
printout of my detail, that's the one code I'm missing.
That's fine.
Yeah, I get up to 2850, 2855, I don't have a breakdown. Sure.
They have it. Oh, but all above it.
Oh, it's above it. sorry, my apologies. Apparently you read bottom up.
Okay.
So that includes, I'll go through it, but salaries for the various coaches, the salary, of course, of our athletic,
The athletic director's in there? Okay, that makes
that's
sense.
in there, coaches' salaries, everything that goes into like filming sports, all the, you know how we live stream the basketball
NFHS.
games, all that stuff.
But
is in there.
that's not a big number, right?
That is, hold on here. I'm getting to chaperoning this.
Thank you. Was it like that?
It's about $70,000.
To stream the events on NFHS?
All of the above, sports time, film, there's various different,
Okay, so that's also the same service that provides video imaging for our coaches to review?
yeah. There's various different, it's not just that one.
No, I get it.
agenda. It includes our athletic trainer salary, coaches' salaries, the clerical salary for the athletic department,
Yeah,
equipment.
okay, equipment is in there, okay.
A remarkable number that stays pretty static, but official fees are about $115,000 a year. Contract services for the middle school, contract services for the high school.
What is contract services?
What is that exactly?
Is that this physician or no?
Well, the trainer's in there too. I don't know.
Contract services, I'd have to look it up too.
Okay, we don't have to spend too much time here. I'm just curious at more detail on that. If we can get that in an update or
Yeah,
a
it
separate
was in
email.
the
I'd
detail
appreciate it.
that we provided earlier.
Yeah, I just, there's a couple of things in there that I'm just curious about, that's all.
All right. But yeah, but again, our athletic programs are growing, I think that's kind of like the bottom line
Right above it is co-curricular activities. Are those
for
clubs?
the clubs.
Even that number seems high for the number of clubs we have, knowing what the stipends are. So those are some of the things that I'm just curious about as I go through this. And I just wanna know, and I don't think anything's wrong, I wanna understand it a little bit better.
All right, just put that in the update as well.
Great.
Thank you.
Any more questions? So next time around, we're doing our staffing analysis, and again, culminating in our budget voting election on May 20th. We did questions, so thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Santana.
I don't know. Okay, sorry. All right, so we're done. Okay, thank you. With questions, nobody had any questions? Sorry. I was like having this conversation, I'm like, oh, I guess everybody's waiting. Okay, thank you. Moving on to section GH, what do we have, GHI? Does anybody want to take them together?
Sure.
Stormy night,
I don't
go
think we
home.
have any.
Anybody have an objection?
All right.
All right, so we'll do an omnibus for G1. Yeah,
I'll make my recommendation. The
Thank you.
administration recommends approval of curriculum items reflected in G1 through G2. Personnel changes reflected in H1 through H8. And business items reflected in I1 through I3.
can I have a motion? Mr. Little, seconded by Mr. Barry. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Motion carries unanimous.
Just want to mention a couple things. Within that vote was the approval of the BTA contract, so I'm glad that process is officially over. We're looking forward to our continued collaboration. And I want to thank the BTA and its executive negotiating team and members for nice and smooth negotiations, although it took a little bit longer than anybody anticipated. And also, we appointed Ms. Jackie O'Hagan as our new Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum, Instruction, and Accountability. We're excited about her sort of continuing the momentum that Ms. Doyle sort of helped create in her tenure with us here in the South Country. We're all up in NISCUS conference together, and we're able to talk about a lot of the sort of hopes and aspirations we have. And the way I see it is about Ms. O'Hagan sort of taking that baton. Ms. Doyle took the district from point A to point B, and now Ms. O'Hagan will take the district from point B to point C. So we're looking forward to continued growth. She's super excited. The only reason she's not here is because she's accepting her Social Studies Administrative of the Year award, still in Albany. So I just want to congratulate her, and I look forward to her sitting at the table with Mr. Huntsman and Ms. Segee at our next board meeting.
We did interview her at the board via Zoom tonight, so everybody's wondering. So it is a little odd for her not to be here, but obviously this is the way things go, and we're happy to have her. So congratulations, Ms. O'Hagan.
Yep. Congratulations.
Okay. With that, I'll go around the room. Any closing remarks?
Do you have the announcement about the legacy? Do you mind if I mention it, or do you?
Of the
have
what?
it? The legacy? Do you have to announce it?
I don't have anything on that. What is that? I don't know what you're talking about.
March
Boys and Girls Club.
Yeah. Do you-
Oh, I don't have it ready in front of me, so you're welcome to make a comment on it.
Okay. All right, just in closing, just want to say that the Boys and Girls Club each year has a legacy event where they honor members of the district and the local area who have made significant contributions to our community. And this year, appropriately so and posthumously, Anita Webb is going to be honored this year, and also our superintendent, Antonio Santana. That'll be on March 29th. Tickets are available, and, we hope for community support, but we're very proud that our superintendent is being recognized for the contributions that he's made, not only to our district, but on behalf of the community, so we'd like to congratulate him.
Thank you, Trustee Felice. I feel very humbled by it. I feel very undeserving, considering I've been here just 3 years, but I think the board knows how I feel about this community, and I want to continue pressing along to continue to promote its growth. This is a really special place, and I feel like I landed in the right place. So I'm really appreciative of the acknowledgement from the Boys and Girls Club. We work collaboratively a lot together, and we do wonderful things for the community, so I'm just hoping to continue being a part of that dynamic. Thank you, Ms. Felice.
Great. Great, thanks.
Mr. Lowell? Mr. Kavanaugh? Ms. Hayes? Mr. Barry?
I do feel as though I did skip over one of the things in my notes in the previous section, so I did want to bring it up. The concert last night was beautiful. I wanted to echo the band was quite thrilling, and I like the back-to-back same song being played twice. I've never seen that in the history of concerts, and it was just interesting to hear. Something.
The only piece I'd say, I do want to thank Mr. Brady, I know he's not here, and his negotiation team and the executive team of the PTA for getting this contract done. I'm happy we're able to finally get it done and move on. So thank you to all of them and Mr. Santana and the negotiating team on our side for coming together to get it done. Okay, I'll open the floor for a motion to adjourn. Mr. Lowell, seconded by Mr. Barry. All those in favor? Motion carries, we're adjourned.